Memories. They're different for each person. There are good ones, and then there are the ones you always want to run away from. 10 years ago, I met my first love and lost him. I was forced to end our relationship. Since then, there hasn't been a day that I haven't regretted it. Moving to another country didn't help escape. You can't escape your memories, right? So, one day, I met him, my ex, after 10 years. It was an everyday work day. I was running to work, and I ran into the usual coffee shop for breakfast. The usual for me, I called out as I ran into the cafeteria. The friendly waitress knew what I bought every day. "I'll have a double cappuccino, please," said someone's beautiful voice. I wanted to look at the machine to see who said it, but he was on the phone and standing with his back to me. But even among the millions of backs, I would have recognized him. Excitement ran through my body. I started breathing more heavily, and my heart, it almost jumped out of my chest. "Alex?" I said timidly. He turned around and saw me.
"Emma, is that you?"
he asked. I smiled.
"Gosh, how many years older are we, and you're even prettier."
"Thank you, you're embarrassing me," I replied, smiling. "I didn't expect to see you here."
"I work here. I moved in a couple of weeks ago. Now I'm an employee of the global group."
"Really? Are we neighbors now?"
"Where are you?"
"I'm in the building across the street at the Beto Company."
"Wow, you've come a long way. Following in your father's economic footsteps?"
"Yeah, tell me about it." There was a pause. "Your breakfast director," the waitress said.
"And you're the director of the company?"
I smiled silently and nodded my head. Alex patted me on the shoulder and congratulated me. I said I had to run, and left.
"Good to see you. I hope to see you again, Emma,"
he said. The whole day went wrong. I couldn't get Alex out of my head. I kept replaying our memories over and over in my head, how I'd said such horrible things, that I didn't love him anymore, that I'd used him for personal business purposes. What pain I'd caused to myself and him. But it was a forced measure. I left then almost immediately to study here in Japan, and after I moved to the US and continued my father's business. The next day, as I stood waiting for my coffee, I kept looking around. The waitress handed me my breakfast and said, "There's something left here for you. It's from that man from yesterday," she said, and held out a box. Inside it was his business card, and it said,
"I forgot to take your number. Waiting for your call. Alex."
And next to it was my favorite coffee-flavored chocolate bar. He used to always buy it for me when we were together. I just love them. Toward lunchtime, I decided to call him anyway. "Hey, it's me," I said into the phone.
"Glad you called me back. I was looking forward to it. Listen, I'm in a meeting right now. Can I meet you after work? How about dinner?"
he asked.
I agreed and spent the rest of the day waiting. The time dragged on slower than usual.
I ran out of the building and saw him standing outside with a girl. Oh shit, it must be his girlfriend. What was I even hoping for? Maybe I should just go. I'm not going to survive this. I didn't even ask if it was his wife. I had already turned to leave, but Alex saw me.
"Oh, hey, Emma, I'm here. Meet my little sister, Cheryl,"
he said. "Sister? Cheryl, is that you? You look so different." "Hello, thank you. It's been so many years. It's good to see you. I'll get out of your way. Alex, give me the money."
Time goes by and her habits don't change.
I laughed. Cheryl immediately ran away, and we went to a restaurant. We had a great time. We talked a lot. Under the wine we drank, there were more memories. I was catching his eyes on mine, and it was so exciting. Why are you looking at me like that?
"You are so beautiful, Emma. You always have been."
I smiled. It turned out that he has a no one, which I was really glad about. We left the cafe after dinner, and I realized that I couldn't drive in the state I was in. Then Alex called a cab and asked me for a ride home. He got out with me and said he wanted to walk me to the door. When we got up to my floor, I thanked him for the evening and he was about to leave. But at that moment, Alex pulled out his phone quickly. Someone had called him, and while he was talking, I saw something on the floor. My hands were shaking again.
"Sorry," Cheryl called. "Oh, that's mine."
"You still have it?"
"Yes, please give it back to me. It's very precious to me."
"Wait, that's the necklace you gave me on my birthday."
"Yes, August 18th.
"Do you still remember?"
"How could I forget? I was looking for this necklace. One half of my heart is a pendant for you, the other half for me. It's my amulet. And you must have thrown yours away as soon as you left me."
Tears welled up in my eyes, and I unbuttoned my shirt a little and pulled out the pendant. I always wore it around my neck. Alex kissed me, and we spent that night together. I was happy to see him again. We saw each other every day after that, had lunch and dinner together, and sometimes even breakfast. I thanked fate for giving us a second chance. On the day I had Alex at work, waiting for me to be free, he sat in my workplace and I sat on the couch, finishing up a report. "I'll be there now, love. Not much left," I said.
"Don't worry, honey. Take your time. We have plenty of time now. You have a comfortable workplace. I like your chair. Look, can I leave my laptop with you and pick it up later? I don't want to lug it around on our date."
"Yes, of course. Tomorrow morning I have a meeting. I'll be there all day. Here, take the spare key from my office. You can pick it up yourself. Oh, sorry, my dad's on the phone." I went out into the hallway, talked on the phone, and told him that my dad was coming to my office for work. "Let's say hello, and then we can go," I said, but Alex reacted strangely. He said he'd got a call and quickly left. Okay, weird. After I met my dad, I called him to see him again, but Alex didn't answer my texts or calls. And then he texted that he was busy and had left on urgent business. I wondered what kind of business he had. Maybe he just didn't want to see my dad. Maybe he was embarrassed, I thought. For the next 3 days, there were no calls or messages from him. I was starting to get worried. I went into the cafeteria and ordered coffee. "Wow, today's your day off, and you're here. Usually you only come in on your day off when it's an emergency. Is everything okay?" "Yes, thank you. I just wanted your coffee." I came out of there and decided to do some grocery shopping. I went into the market and took a long time to pick out some cheese, and I heard from behind me, "Daddy, Mommy, look! I found that jam!" shouted Cheryl's voice. "Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Sanders are here." I cleaned myself up, and I wanted to say hello. Still, it had been so long since I'd seen them. I hadn't even heard from them, and... What? Why? They were different people. I hid behind some cabbage, and I walked past them.
Cheryl didn't even recognize me. "Julia, hurry up," the man said.
Julia? Who's Julia? It's Cheryl. Or at least, that's what Alex said. There was something wrong here. Or maybe she was his mistress. The thought of that destroyed me. I followed them out with a murderous look, still hiding my face behind my shopping. "Alex, what are you up to?" "Oh, Dad's on the phone." My father gave me some unpleasant news. I dropped all my groceries and ran out like I was scalded, running to the office.
"What's going on here? Who are these people?" "The auditors and the prosecutors. Somebody planted fake documents on us about not paying taxes."
"What? Who?"
"I don't know. We'll find out later. But in the meantime, I want you to check it out. I have to meet someone now."
Shit! How is that possible? The office is secured, and every employee has a personal chip. The chip. Oh no, I couldn't believe it was Alex. I glanced at my desk and saw that Alex's computer wasn't there. I felt uncomfortable. I left things to my deputy and ran to Alex's office. He was just sitting in his office. "Did you do this on purpose? What do you want from me? And Cheryl? Who is she?" Alex sat nonchalantly in his chair. He slowly got up and sat down, leaning on his desk.
"My dear Emma. Yes, that's not my sister. That's my secretary. Her name is Julia. It took me 10 whole years to do all this, and wow. They say it hurts to fall when you go higher."
"Why?"
"You left me because your father told you to, right? Didn't he tell you why? He bankrupted my father's company to keep you out of the way, sent you to Japan, and my father, he died. He couldn't stand bankruptcy. I waited 10 years for revenge when you and your father's company were at the peak of prosperity to bankrupt you."
He was saying all this, and everything inside of me was turning over. I couldn't believe it. "So, this is all about revenge? In the pendant?" I asked.
"Bought a similar one for $1. What, you thought I still loved you? You're wrong, Emma, and this is just the beginning,"
he said. Alex was right. He didn't manage to ruin us to the end, but he achieved failure. His revenge was nurtured in hatred, and he struck at the place where it hurt most. Was he right to do this? What do you think? Write in the comments.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrew. You can shower me with negative comments, but I want to tell you about my experience about how I met millionaires, how I did it, and what I did. By the way, yes, write your opinion in the comment under the video, subscribe to the channel, and put likes. I grew up in a poor family. I won't say that we were poor, but I wanted more, and since I'm too lazy, I didn't want to work, so I looked for easier ways to get money. I remember the first time, when I was 18, my friends and I went to a local club. There were just a lot of people there. We ordered a lot of things and didn't have enough money to pay the bill. So, my friends sent me in search of a rich girl to spin her for $200. It was a lot of money, considering that we only sat there for one night. I had no idea how to do it, but I had a plus in appearance. I did not look my age at all. I was given from the side of 20 to 25 years. Since I was on fun, I quickly agreed. Thanks to my tall stature, well-built body, in principle, I did not doubt success. And so it turned out. The first thing I did was go out on the dance floor and look around. There were a lot of beautiful girls there, but they all didn't look as expensive as I needed. I could easily appreciate the outfits, because I followed the fashion myself. This one has a dress for $7, this one probably rented it, and this one asked a friend, so. Oh, I found it, I thought, and saw the girl in front of me. She had money and expensive clothes, but she was so unsure of herself. She sat in the corner, drinking a soda on the rocks and looking at people, covering part of her face with her hair. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the first time she'd ever come here. I immediately realized that she was alone, so it was not difficult to glue her together. I danced casually, then walked over and sat down next to her at the bar. She liked me. She was immediately embarrassed. I took a sip of water, and then turned to face the dance floor. "It's a little hot in here," I said. She smiled and added, "Not the right word." And then everything was easy. It was enough just to start a conversation, from which it turned out that she was really alone, went to the club for the first time, and did not know anyone. I only showed the well-mannered side, spoke it, danced, bought a drink, meet the guys, and at the end of the evening she became so good that she asked to be with her again. "I'm sorry, we have to go, and my friend has already ordered half of the bar. I'll have to leave it instead of the bill," I said, as if joking. She immediately asked for the bill, took out a card, and ordered us more drinks. At the end of the evening, I walked her to her car, but she asked me to take her home, as she was unable to give up driving. Well, then the classics: a farewell kiss, a phone number, hugs, compliments. In general, Leah and I talked for about 2 months. During this time, she managed to fully dress me, took me to restaurants, gave me money for salons, a gym. She even gave me her car a couple of times and I was happy. I came up with a legend that now my parents are away and all my cards are blocked. I can't invite her to the house because I live with my grandmother. Leah was even touched that I was taking care of an old man. Maybe everything else would have been the same, but I got bored. I knew I wanted new adventures, girls, and I was already missing. What only Leah did not lure, she threw me a card money, more and more often gave me a car. And then one day, I screwed up. I borrowed her car and went out with my friends. I told Leah that I would stay at home with my grandmother in the evening. My guys offered to visit a new institution that opened in the city. I arrived there in new clothes, with a perfect hairstyle and a cool mood. Almost immediately, I managed to hook up with a couple of girls. No, they weren't rich, but they thought I was. But they had looks, a chic figure, and charm. I thought, why don't I relax today? I danced, kissed them in turn, and even planned to go to the hotel with them. Suddenly, Leah appeared behind me. She stood there, tearful, angry, and frightened at the same time. I was confused. I asked, "What are you doing here, baby?" She gave me a loud slap in the face, called me a goat, took the car and drove away. What, you think I ran after her? No, it was clear that sooner or later we would break up. It just worked out on its own today. Of course, the girls immediately moved away as soon as they found out that it wasn't my car. Well, whatever, I rested anyway and then took a taxi home. The money that I was given by Leah was enough for exactly 3 weeks. Then I began to think what to do. I needed a source of finance, so I went to the establishments again. Only this time I was determined to win over the older lady so that she would look after me even more, while at the same time she would have little time for me because of work. And I found one. I met her at the pool. It was an elite pool, and I had to pay my last money to buy a subscription there. Fortunately for me, I went swimming there that day and almost immediately saw her, Marie. She was visiting, had a big business here. She jumped into the pool and hurt her leg. Without thinking, I rushed to save her. She was about 35 years old. She looked at me with gratitude. I did a foot massage, took care of her in every possible way. She fed me and thanked me, and then she offered me a ride home. I said that I couldn't go home yet, because a fictional sister and her children lived there. Marie didn't hesitate to invite me to her house for dinner. She had a chic mansion, a private swimming pool, and 5 cars of different brands were parked in the yard. The staff made us dinner while we sat and talked. I made it clear that I was not indifferent to her, and late in the evening she asked me if I was confused by our age difference. At that moment, I spun her around in a slow dance and then kissed her. Marie lost her head. She was single, and didn't even have friends here, just business. She also has no children, so I became her main and only person in her life. I managed to make her fall in love with me. And you know what? Marie gave me gifts I never dreamed of. Expensive watches, suits. She paid for the most expensive trips to spa, gave me cars. I could stay at her house as long as I wanted while she was at work or on business trips. It was gorgeous. Yes, I became a kind of Alfonso, but for some reason I was not a bit ashamed of myself, of my way of life. Agree. What's wrong with being loved and a person who has everything can just share it with you? I knew I should stay with her for a while, so I was a good boy. I did everything she asked for. Massage, brought and drove where needed. I also went to events with her, introduced myself as a friend, but my pleasure couldn't last forever. Once I came home after school very tired. We were supposed to take our college exam that day, and all I wanted to do was sleep. I ate, and I was going to lie down, but Marie called me. She asked me to go shopping with her. I packed up, grabbed my bag out of habit, and went to her. We spent a few hours shopping. I dressed up again at her expense, and then we went to her place. By the way, yes, she didn't know my real age. She thought I was 27. We got home and I went to bed. It turns out that while I was sleeping, someone called me. It was my mother. Marie tried to get out phone, and the contents of the bag fell out with it, along with my passport. It was then that she found out that I was still a child compared to her. I woke up screaming. "You tricked me. You're just a kid," she shouted. I didn't even know what she was talking about until I saw the bag. I didn't know what to say in my defense. I tried to explain that my feelings for her were sincere, but she didn't believe me. I wouldn't have believed it myself. She said that all I wanted from her was money, and I might get her in trouble, so she sent me away. Well, at least I managed to snatch a lot of things for myself this month. And then everything went according to the old scenario. I was again looking for a rich woman, quadrille, and pumped money. I live like this now, but do you think it's good or not?